Hi, this is Tammy Dawson, and here's some of the paintings I've done in the last year. This one is obviously Prickly Pear, and it was done in watercolor. This one was also done in watercolor. Oh, I'll come back to that one. Hold on. This one was done in acrylics. Now, these are forget-me-nots. I was on a bit of a forget-me-not uh, uh, little kick there for a while. This was done with palette knife. A little blue bird that I also did in palette knife. This one's also acrylic on canvas. Another cactus on canvas. This was done in acrylic. Forget-me-nots in watercolor. Okay, this is part of my practice for painting on a wine bottle. I conducted a paint and sip at one of the local wineries, and we painted a version of this on wine bottles. And so I will go back and show you that. Oh, before I show you that, I'll show you one more. Oh, here is the other practice that I used for the wine bottle paint and sip that I taught. And I don't have a photo of the final product from the paint and sip, but this was the initial bottle that I painted that caught the winery's attention. Okay, so we've got our two forget-me-nots, and let's look at this one. Okay, so this is done in acrylics and in gouache. It also has some neo color too, so this is really multimedia. This was inspired by Suzanne Allard class. This is very interesting because this has watercolor background, but it's gouache foreground, and this was based on a tutorial by Ellen Cremy Trent. And here's another version of the same tutorial. I love gouache because you can put white over the dark. Oh, going the wrong way. Hold on. Okay, I was on a rose kick for a while. This is one of my own creations. This as well. This has some gouache and watercolor. Okay, this is acrylic. This was based on a tutorial by Ellen Cremy Trent. Oh, another cactus in acrylic on canvas. And thistles. Oh, I have an obsession with watercolor thistles. And anemones. This is anemones, and in the background, this is leucadendrons. These were used as a bouquet for my cousin's wedding, and I have attempted to paint them many times. This is painted in watercolor, and I'm just not happy with it yet, so I have not given it to her as a gift, but I will eventually paint it the way I see it in my mind and give it to her as a gift. Oh, and this was an abstract based on a Suzanne Allard tutorial. This is done in multimedia, so there's acrylic and gouache and ink as well. Let's see. Oh, hold on, I'll show you one more. Okay, so this was the one we just looked at, but I did two versions of it. This one's in a much brighter color. There we go. Pretty neat, huh? And let's see. Oh, we have, this was in watercolor, and it is multimedia because it's not one continuous piece of paper. I made it into more of a 3D structure. You can see some of these pieces are lifted up off the paper. This was a gift for my cousin because she loves succulents. And this was a gift for another cousin because she loved the one that I did so much for the other one that I did. So again, this was lifted up off the paper. You can see the actual shadow here. This one has splatter. This one's a little more colorful because it just matches that cousin better. So, and I love poppies. This is done in acrylics on canvas, and these poppies were inspired by an online tutorial by Ginger Cook. This was done around Christmas time as a gift for a cousin. This is watercolor. This is another Suzanne Allard tutorial. This was done in acrylics and gouache and also the Neocolor 2 pastels. This was a gift for my cousin Shelly. There are several versions of this. This was one of the final ones that I liked that I did gift to her. Oh, paint and sip. We don't need that. Okay, this was a tutorial by Diane. Oh, I can't remember her last name. She's on YouTube. I'll have to get you the last name later. I'll put it in the notes. This is watercolor on cotton. I love tulips. Another of the same. This was done in my sketchbook. This is watercolor. This is using a filbert brush. And when I first got the filbert brush, I love these sweet little flowers. This was a tutorial by Ellen Cremy Trent. I really love how this one turned out. This was painted specifically for my cousin Melanie for her birthday. It is watercolor. It is on cotton. This was just a practice, and the paper's warped, so the photo didn't turn out great, but watercolor. Oh, and we saw this one already. This was one of the practice for the paint and sip on the wine bottles. I particularly like how this one turned out. This is one of my originals. This was painted for my cousin Claire, and this is watercolor on cotton. And let's see, where are we now? Oh, okay. Here's another Suzanne Allard tutorial. This is gouache on watercolor paper, which is cotton. This was a large format. I believe it was 11 by 14, or maybe it was 14 by 16. I can't remember, but this was painted as a gift for my cousin Letha. Like I said, it's gouache on watercolor paper. And let's see. Oh, orchids. I love orchids. These are watercolor on cotton in a sketchbook. This was based on a tutorial by Ellen Cremy Trent. I particularly like the peach color for them, but I was not happy with the stems. There we go. Just tried it a couple times. I love orchids. This was a paint and sip that I did with Strawberry Farmer Art in Comfort, Texas. Originally, it had a white eye. I'm not sure why Highland Cow would have a white eye, so I updated it. This does look more playful and whimsy with this shape of eye. This is completely different than the way it was taught. And also, she had the flowers right on top of his head, but I like the way the top of his head turned out, so I put the flowers over here. These are not the flowers that were taught. These are the flowers in my style that I prefer. And this is on canvas, again, acrylic on canvas. And this was a large canvas. I want to say like 16 by 20. Okay, and this is watercolor. This is part of the class taught by Christine Jones that I've been going to. So this is watercolor on cotton. I believe this is most watercolors, unless I say otherwise, it's on 12" by 9" watercolor paper, which is cotton, 100% cotton. This is also one of the items we did in class. I didn't finish it. I'd like to go back and add some purple or gray here for the buildings in the background and finish out the details on the buildings and the shadows. This is another watercolor taught in class by Christine Jones. This is meant to have somewhat of a stained glass effect. It's stylized peony, designed by Christine. This is my design. I enjoy painting just loose wildflowers. I used it as a happy birthday card. So, but I like how it kind of looks like it's waving in the wind. This again is my design. I forgot to erase the pencil line, so it's obviously not a finished product, but I thought it turned out really cute. And those are the only ones that I have in Instagram right now. I'm going to add some more in a couple of days. I've done some, I probably have 10 more that I'll add to Instagram over the next couple of days. So I'll set those up in a separate YouTube. Okay, that's all for now.